the Madman!
Today, it's finally another episode of Trump Cards of the Week. This week we are combining 2 weeks into one. Let's start with None Are Prepared. It's a Demon Hunter spell, 2 mana. Force all enemy minions to attack your hero at once. Design, 3 stars. Balance, 4 stars. So my main problem with this card is that there have been no cards in Hearthstone that have forced your enemy minion to attack your hero, and probably for good reason. It takes a little bit of thought to realize, oh, it's because my hero has attack power. That's good for enemy minions to attack my hero. But that is a little bit confusing. Do you lose durability or not if enemy minions attack your hero? Did you know that you actually don't lose durability, which is a little bit of a surprise, I think. Is it okay for them to introduce this into the game when it's like there are a few question marks among this? I think it's a little too uncertain. It does combine with Blur, which is kind of cute, but it also shares a lot of design space with Blade Dance, which just simply deals your weapon damage to 3 enemy minions. Card a little bit weak because Blade Dance is just better. But also, I just think that forcing enemy minions to attack you is perhaps too confusing as to what happens. Book Club. Ends a Paladin 5 mana 3/3 weapon. After this attacks a minion, add a copy of it to your hand. Design, 5 stars. Balance, 5 stars. It's kind of powerful. For 5 mana, you're getting a 3/3 weapon. That's only 1 durability less than Assassin's Blade, which is a terrible weapon. But probably more importantly, for 5 mana, you are eventually getting 3 cards in your hand. And you kind of get to choose the quality of those cards. Maybe you are using this card to finish out your opponent's weaker minions, and then you get 3 weak minions, temporary. Maybe you use it to really capture some huge minions from the opponent. It's slow going, and in order to get the really good stuff, you probably have to take a lot of damage, so cool. I'm a little bit more okay with letting something that looks like it potentially could be OP in a control world, just because it's for Paladin. Ready, aim, fire. A Hunter multi-part card. Ready costs 1 mana and says your hero power costs 0 this turn, add aim to your hand. Aim costs 1 mana. Your hero power can target minions this turn, add fire to your hand. Fire, 1 mana, refresh your hero power. Design, 5 stars, balance, 5 stars. Ready makes a lot of sense. It sets your hero power to 0. Aim makes a lot of sense. You can aim at the minions. Fire makes sense because after you've shot, you get to refresh your hero power and then presumably shoot again. You don't have to play all 3 spells on the same turn. Seems like it's a natural fit to use all of them. If you do use all of them, it's 3 mana to deal 2 damage to 2 different minions, or 4 damage to 1 minion, or 4 damage to face. With the caveat that you aren't allowed to use your hero power alongside that damage. But it seems to me like this is a really cool, flexible card and very flavorful as well. This card even combos with a few of the Hunter mechanics of casting a bunch of spells in a turn, or using your hero power. And in the case that there's too much face damage type spells, it can simply be printed in a rotation where Rapid Fire, for example, rotates out, and then you just have Ready Aim Fire, which is a little bit similar to Rapid Fire because it's a card that gives you more cards, which deal some amount of small damage. Next up, we have one of my personal favorites out of this list. It's Nook Greetskin, a rogue legendary. 5 mana 4/5, Battlecry, discover a card in your opponent's hand and place a bet on it. You can place either a high stakes bet. If they play that card next turn, add 3 coins to your hand. A moderate bet, if they play that card within 2 turns, add 2 coins to your hand. Or the long game, if they play that card within 3 turns, add a coin to your hand. Design, 5 stars, balance, 5 stars. One quick thing, I know it may be a bit confusing to bold Discover there because Discover is usually attached with draw that card. In this case, it does not, so therefore I believe it should read look at 3 cards in your opponent's hand and place a bet on it, instead of using the keyword Discover, which could cause confusion. It's a bit of a skill-based card in that you can maneuver the situation in such a way that induces them to play a certain card. And then you can be like, haha, I knew you were going to play that card in 2 turns. And also, your opponent has counterplay. They can delay playing a card that they think that you may have placed a bet on. Next up, it's Lonely Woods, a 2 mana druid spell. Discover a spell. If the board is empty, keep all 3. Design, 4 stars, balance, 4 stars. This card seems most at home in Spell Druid because the board has to be empty, which means you also can't have anything on your side.
Hey.
That's a pretty decent payoff, 2 mana, draw 3. In fact, the reason I docked a point off of design was that sometimes it's too powerful. And this is a really big high roll if you play it on 2, or you play it on 1 with the coin. There's just perhaps not quite enough your opponent can do with it. If they don't play a minion on turn 1, here's Coin Lonely Woods, and then you draw 3 spells. Random spells, but still, nonetheless, that's a lot of bulk. And yet, at the same point, I think it's too weak, which is why I put the balance at 4. It seems to be very limited in just being used for that high roll potential. It is difficult to be able to put a spell into your deck that's only useful if you've also completely cleared the board, especially in Druid, which is a class notoriously bad at keeping the board empty. Druid of the Nap. 2 mana 2/2. Choose one, transform into a 3/5 sloth with taunt and can't attack, or a 5/4 bear with dormant for 2 turns. Design 5 stars, balance 3 stars. So I'll just straight up say that a 2 mana for a 3/5 taunt with can't attack is just way too powerful. That's like Tar Creeper, except you lose the 1 attack of the Tar Creeper every turn, but it comes out 1 full mana, 1 full turn ahead. That's way too powerful. I suggest just fully nerfing this Druid of the Nap by 1 mana. And then, sometimes you choose the 3/5 sloth with taunt and can't attack. And sometimes you choose, I'm suggesting that the bear side be buffed as a result of the mana increase, to something like a 5/6 or a 6/5. You have a legitimate choice where against control you'll want to choose the bear, against aggro you'll want to choose the sloth. And both of these forms really evoke sleepiness. Axe Toss. This card was also up in contention for being a trump card of the week. Hunter, 3 mana spell, deal 3 damage to a minion. When it dies, equip a 3/1 axe. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. I think it's a really cool idea. You're throwing an axe at a guy, and when that minion dies, you can pick up that axe and wield it. What a great evocative imagery. Similar to Rogue's Shadowblade, because you don't take damage when you throw the axe at someone. Differences are that you can just have that axe sticking out of the minion. It has a death rattle where when it dies you equip a 3/1 axe. Or you can kill it and then immediately attack with a 3/1 axe, so potentially dealing 6 damage in 1 turn. It's simple, it's elegant, it's really great. Holy Pharaoh, a paladin 3 mana 1/1 minion. Reborn, death rattle, draw a card. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Acolyte of Pain in a specific class. A class that has been weak due to lack of card draw, perhaps. Reborn interacts well with the Paladin class, and it's a very consistent Acolyte of Pain in that it'll slowly draw you 2 cards, probably over 2 turns. Nice and simple. We got a neutral legendary here. Robin Hood. 4 mana 4/3. Battlecry. Discover a common card. Put it at the top of your opponent's deck. Design 4 stars, balance 5 stars. I believe that there is a bit of a flavor disconnect. Robin Hood is known for stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, so why are you putting a common card at the top of your opponent's deck? Certainly, though, Robin Hood would not be a proper name for any Hearthstone card anyways. Could you find another name for this? Yeah, easy. Where is this card useful? Basically, it's some small disruption in that your opponent still draws a card, but it's presumably a sucky card because you put a bad common card on the top of their deck, of which there are a number of bad common cards. A little bit different for each class because each class has different common cards. Put in that Sacrificial Pact onto your opponent's deck. It's a little like Albatross in that it intends to disrupt your opponent. This one's immediate. I think the 2 cards are different enough that this card's pretty cool. And finally, the trump card of the week out of these 2 really competitive weeks, Love is in the Air for a Paladin, is a 3 mana spell which draws 2 different minions of the same cost. I think this is a really interesting and creative card draw option for Paladin. It encourages design of a deck in a specific way and doesn't seem to be overly overpowered in the type of stuff it can tutor for, since it's always minions and it's 2 different minions and they're the same cost. There's precedent to draw 2 of the same cost. Seems fair, seems like great flavor, and that's why that's the trump card of the week. So, look forward to more custom Hearthstone cards. It's always so cool to see what the community creates.